All right, if you've watched our previous video, you saw how we separated these yolks in the eggs from the whites. The whites are going to be used in another project. Watch for that future video. But right now, for the yolks, we're going to make creme brulee. And not any creme brulee. This will be through sous vide without using jars. So let's show you what we're going to do to get there. Our recipe that we're using requires grams for the volume. Very precise, very specific. In fact, the base of the recipe we're using is off of Chefsteps. So if you've ever heard of Chefsteps, they do a great job. I've been looking at their stuff for 8 years now. So love their stuff, good things. But the conversion of these is about 11 eggs is going to be about the amount of grams that we need for this particular recipe. Now, to do that, I'm going to actually break these egg yolks up because I'm just going to get the exact item rather than number of yolks that I want to put in there. So, now is the fun part. Just a simple break, minor beat. Stab each one if you wanted to, and with that, we're done. That was easy. So now we just simply need to pour to get the correct number of grams that we need.
160.
160 grams. All right, let's see how well it pours out of this. 96, 97, 130, 140, what'd you say, 160?
160, yep.
160? Can I get it exactly?
Maybe.
Can I require us to have all sorts of weird stuff?
5, 6, 57, 58, 59, 160.
Oh, yay, now the dripping.
Yep.
No! And when I said we were really precise, that was actually just being a joke. We're using it to get close.
Yeah, you do not have to be exact.
And we're going to use the rest of these yolks in another video as well.
Okay, we're going to make some creme brulee. I've got some egg yolks in our pan already. We're going to add, it's actually a pretty simple recipe. We're going to add sugar and salt. And then we are going to mix this until it's all mixed in and creamy. You want to whisk it. Go just a touch faster. And then we're going to slowly add our cream in. So for a traditional creme brulee, you'd heat the cream. But because we're cooking this in our sous vide, we're not going to heat the cream ahead of time. It does everything it needs to do while it's cooking. Yay for us. Makes it a little bit easier. You just want it to be a smooth texture. Okay, there we go, that's pretty smooth. So we're going to add the cream. When the cream is hot, you add it slowly so that you can temper the eggs. You don't burn the eggs. I'm going to still add it kind of slow just because I'm pouring it right in the bowl, but because it's not hot, you don't have to worry about it cooking the eggs. There we go. This is another one, we just want to mix it till it's smooth in there. So because we are going to be cooking this in the sous vide, we're going to put it in a Ziploc bag. I have this little stand to help me out. I'm gonna hold it because we want to strain it. You want a strainer, a fine mesh strainer, that you'll strain it into the bag. Mostly just to try and get all the bubbles out. Make sure there's nothing in there that you don't want. I'm gonna let it mix for just a moment. I think that looks pretty smooth. So now I'm just going to set this on top. little bit. We're just gonna pour it right through. I'm gonna go kind of slow. There we go. Kind of take some of the bubbles out with that strainer, but now we're just going to let it sit for 20 to 30 minutes so that the rest of the bubbles can just settle in. We don't really want any bubbles on top. Now we will be putting our creme brulee into the sous vide bath. We've got it set at 176 here. It is also, if you remember, the same temperature as our ribs. Help us remember which one it is. So I've got it in the bag. You just want to get as much air as you can get out without really squishing it too much. I guess it doesn't really matter, but you don't want it to come out the top either. So I like to get it most of the way. So all I have to close is one little section. You can also do this in the sous vide. The water will do it for you. Oh, not with liquid.
If the bag going into the sous vide has solids in it, you can just place the whole bag into the water. The water will surround the solids and push all the air out. If it's liquid in the bag, you don't want to do that. The liquid will just squish right out the top. So you definitely want to get it sealed up before you put it in there. And watch how it floats and squishes as she puts it in.
Yep. Come all the way up to the top of the water.
If you're not familiar with sous vide, then using a Ziploc bag in the sous vide, you're definitely going to want to make sure you keep it hanging over the edge so it doesn't seep through.
The lid holds it too in place, so you can just do that. And then we're all done. It'll stay in there for about an hour.
All right, we got the creme brulee done. It's been in the sous vide, all cooked. Now it's still going to be, where it's so warm, it's going to be super, super runny. And this is the secret to being able to do it in the bag and put it into the ramekins. So let's get it pulled out. I'm going to cut the corner off of the bag and we'll pour it in. We're going to take this, hold the corner up just a little bit like that. Super, super burn your fingers hot, so you want to use extreme caution with this. I'm just always going to be holding places of plastic without the creme brulee in it. All right, got our scissors. Cut a small section off of the corner. Okay, we need new scissors. There we go. All right, small corner. The entire idea here is to not get very many bubbles. So let's see what we can do to accomplish that. Glop, 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 glop. It's already starting to set up to an extent. There we go. Nice and to the top. It is a little bit inconsistent right now. We always have extra ramekins just to be certain we don't run out. And there's the final extra pieces. All right. Now, this is where life gets a little bit interesting. We just want to gently flatten these out as much as we can. Sometimes you can tap them like this. Sometimes you can't. And what I'll generally do is grab a spoon and just try to gently smooth it out. And this is where it gets awkward, doing it not cooked in there, is you've now broken those textures of the finished product, and you want it to be smooth. So as you look at these, smooth it out. And that is pretty good. Just very gentle. Some of these you can tell have some bubbles on them, not too many. This one actually down here has more. Being very cautious with the bag and not getting it really mixed up and bubbly makes a big difference. If you do have any of those types of bubbles, you want to burn them off. You can let them sit for a moment before you do so, but then once you have those sitting in a position that you feel comfortable, that they're all going to have the right type of texture on the top, everything's good, any bubbles they have come to the top, then you take your torch, and with your torch you simply burn off those bubbles. Just a light touch will take care of those really quick. There it is. Couldn't even see it. I was quite a ways away and tapped, and that bubbles are all gone. Maybe you can see some bubbles over here, not many, but that's all it takes. Just a touch and they're gone. Just pops those bubbles. Very, very quick, very easy. This is what we're going to use also for later when we're going to put the cap on these. So we're going to take these, put them in the fridge, and by cooling them down, we're going to get that solidity to just be consistent throughout. Okay, here we have the creme brulee is all set up and ready to go. Let's put some sugar on it, torch the sugar, and really give it a nice candy crust on top. Very simply put, all you gotta do is get some nice standard granulated sugar, nothing fancy. Don't use powdered sugar, don't get anything expensive. Trust me, this is gonna be the way you wanna go. All right, we'll just kind of gently put it on here. I do like to spin it a little bit just to try and get it nice and even. And you're looking to put a layer on here. There we go. A nice even coating. You want it to be nice and even, or else you're going to have areas that pool and areas that clump. There we go. Right about like that. Pretty cool. Let's go ahead and do the second one while we're here. I like to not keep it mounted up on the spoon. Give it a little tap first, and there you go. Now as you're putting it in, you're able to have it take care of itself. It isn't automatically just a big ball. That's all it takes. Now there's challenges you can run into at the torch, and so you want to practice this. Fortunately, this is such an easy recipe to do. You can actually do it a few times. Give it a try. The torch, you're looking to get this crunchy and melted fast enough that it doesn't melt everything underneath it. It'll melt this custard underneath it. If you go too fast, this will just burn. If you go too slow, it melts, so it's a balancing act. This is why I use a good hot torch. This is a triple filtered butane torch. It's not just propane or something simple like that. This is going to be a good torch. You can find whatever you find on Amazon, just make sure it's going to be a nice good butane torch. I like to put it on here and just keep it moving and have the heat still being applied. I've tried in the past taking the heat off and moving it away and coming back. It just doesn't apply the heat fast enough for this to work for us. So we'll give you a go and just show you what that looks like. And again, I am not a professional at this. This is just what I've found that works. This particular torch has a lock, so you can't accidentally turn it on. You pull this lever down and then you push the button. Once you do that, it'll light, but it'll turn off as soon as I let go. This particular one's going to go long enough. I'm going to want to turn on this lock, which will actually lock it so it's in the on position. Okay, you ready? So on, lit, and locked in place. Now I can let go with my thumb and off we go. Straight up and down is how I do it. And just going around in circles and hitting the middle and the outside, and you'll see it starts to kind of just form little beads on there. And then those beads will start to congeal together. And then the heat applies for a couple of seconds after. You'll notice that these continue going even if I was to pull this away. So here we go. You can see the color turning in. I'm going to move away for just a moment. Seeing that burn section right there, and that's okay. It adds good color. I just want to make sure that we keep this going and not just burning the liquid on top. There we go. Brown color is nice. Just a little brown color is really good. Trying to get down into that color underneath. Get that all evened up. And there we go. There's one. If we can do this one, I'm going to hold the torch a little further away. Just go a touch slower so that it melts instead of getting quite so much brown on there. The brown color sure looks nice, but I'm looking for a little bit lighter and more evenly colored. This one does have a low spot right here, so you may see that area kind of pools in that area. And so that's where part of the challenge is with doing it in the sous vide method, is that you're not having it levelly created inside of the ramekin the entire process. So you may run into some challenges, and this one went really well. See how that's just a nice yellow color? So I want to add a little bit more personality to it. So I am going to come through here just a little bit hotter and try to add a little bit of color. Oh, that looks great. Alright, we got the creme brulee. It's cooled just a little bit after we have caramelized it. Let's get you a nice audio. Hear what that sounds like for the cracks. Listen to that. Here's this one. So these areas here are very glass-like, and the others are just a nice crunch to it. So, very cool. Let's give this a nice break, and look at that. Pull that out. Got the candy on top. We got the pudding underneath. Let's give that a taste, if I must. So good. The sugar takes on the flavor of the custard. Custard is nice and creamy. Beautiful. Fabulous. Now, just because I have to, let's see how this one is in comparison, simply because it's less glassy than that one. So here we go, and cracks right through, just like we had. Oh no, don't run away. There we go. Just like the other. Lots of custard underneath, with the sugar crackle on top. So good, so good. Yeah. If you get too much of the brown, it actually starts to burn. This is just brown, just nice, just caramelized. If it gets too brown, too black, it actually will have a burn taste to it, and that is, that'll ruin the entire dish. So yeah, this is a fabulous way to do it. Very easy in the sous vide, so you don't have to worry about getting the timing exactly right, the texture. Put it in there, you're gonna nail it. It's gonna be a little bit clumpy, but it solidifies up just like we showed you here. This is a great thing to do, great one to do. If you have a sous vide, you're gonna wanna try this recipe. Enjoy, like, subscribe, let us know what you enjoyed about the video, and we will catch you on the next one.